The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
There's some days I'm telling you that theme song is a bop, and I'm sitting here jamming to it, and I almost missed the intro. That was today. I was sitting here just rocking my head to that, and I'm like, oh, time to go on. Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Tuesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our friends at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I pointed the right way today. It's going to be a good day. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, the proud sponsor of Running Point, the presenting sponsor. We always want to thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of this show. They go the extra mile for you. We try to follow their lead and do the same thing every day. We got a good show for you today. We have John Bastarkey from East Palestine. Got an interview with him recorded and ready to play. He'll preview the East Palestine Bulldogs volleyball season as Coach Bastarkey making a very much anticipated return. He was a coach back from 2002 to 2007, and now here he is years later coming back to the volleyball program after seeing his daughter go through it and just kind of realizing that he misses the sport. So now John Bastarkey back into the fold as the head coach of the East Palestine Bulldogs volleyball program. We will play his interview in a little bit towards the second half of the show. It's a great one. Can't wait for you guys to hear it, and I think things are exciting at the East Palestine volleyball program. I know a lot of people are kind of, looking at them as a team that can, go from the middle tier, that EOAC, to contending in the top tier. And I think with the excitement that John Bastarkey shared about his roster, I think he thinks that too. I think he believes they can take that step from middle of the pack to, okay, we're going to give these top tier teams some games, and we're going to make sure that we're one of those teams that is in the conversation down the stretch of the season. Very exciting times in East Palestine for sure, especially for that volleyball program. But we're going to lead off the show by talking about a softball game that went on about 2 hours ago. First pitch was at 10 a.m. Well, 3 hours ago. My time is going way off. 3 hours ago, Austintown, they lost on Sunday, remember, to North Carolina 5-0. But just like regionals, here comes Austintown with a bounce back. 4-0. Austintown gets the win over the West representative, and it was a shutout performance by Mila Hamley. And let's go over her line, because when I saw this, it was wild. 6 innings pitched, one hit, 12 strikeouts, and just 3 walks. That is what I call domination from Mila Hamley, coming off a game where late in the game they started, North Carolina started to make a few adjustments on her. She probably got hit harder than she did throughout the whole tournament in one inning, except for the extra inning game, I guess you could argue. But either way, I'm sure she was kind of steaming yesterday about trying to get back on the field and show how dominant she can be. And she did that in a great fashion today with the 4-0 victory and the shutout performance. To get those 6 innings pitched, she went 93 pitches, 67 of them were strikes. That is a great ball to strike ratio, which is one of the things that you can look at to indicate how well a pitcher is really going, how efficient they're being. And when you can go 93 pitches in 6 innings and strike out 12 using only 93 pitches, that is very good. I mean, you think about it, um, strikeouts, you have to throw at least 3 pitches. So if you do 12 times 3, you get 36, of course. So even if all of those 12 strikeouts were 3-pitch strikeouts, it would be 36 pitches there just on those Ks. And we know that there's no way all those strikeouts were 3 pitches. So the fact that he was able to get 12 of them with just 93, pretty impressive, pretty dang impressive for Mila Hanley. On the offensive side for Austintown, they got the bats rolling after being shut out in game 1. And it was Annabelle Mikesell. No shock there. That really was a spark plug. 1 for 2 with a run scored and an RBI. Austintown also had an RBI from Bella Bumgard, who didn't have an official at bat, but still got the RBI there. And then an RBI as well for Austintown from the bottom half of the order in Amani Beardsley getting an RBI for Austintown. Also getting hits for Austintown, Torrey Greathouse doing a great job, pun intended, moving ever since she moved up to the top of the lineup in that regional final, moving from 7 to 5. She does another good job here today with a 2-for-2 day. And then a 2-for-2 day from Ava Fisher in the bottom half of the order. So those are the 5 hits that Austintown were able to get. 1 from Mikesell, 2 from Greathouse, and then 2 from Fisher in the 4-0 win. It was 2-0 after 1, and then Austintown added 1 in the second, and then 1 more for good measure in the top of the 6th. So Austintown still alive in the Little League World Series. They get a Little League World Series win under their belt. And, no matter how this goes, no matter what they do in the rest of the way, I think for them, getting a win in the Little League World Series is going to pay dividends. It's going to be something that you can't take away. No one wants to go down to the Little League World Series and lose twice and not have that memory of winning on that field, winning on that stage. And, Austintown obviously has a long road ahead that we all believe that they can go and they can do because they've proven they can do it in regionals. But at the same time, whether they can get all the way to a championship or not, I think the fact that they got a win on this stage is going to be just the cherry on top of this memory. Now I think it's all gravy, right? You get a win, you got what your main memory is going to be, and now everything else is going to be awesome memories, awesome, live up the experience. And I think at this point, there's no way to lose if you're Austintown's 12U. Because even if you lose the next game, which they're gonna win the next game. But even if they somehow do, they have the win under the belt. They know they can win on that stage. And then they have that memory for them. And then their experience goes even one more day into the Little League World Series. Tomorrow is the day that they're going to be able to see Athletes Unlimited come down to the Little League World Series and play a doubleheader down there for the Little League players that are still there. So a great opportunity for that. I'm so excited for those players to be able to be face to face with the professionals. The biggest names in this softball world. We were talking about Sierra Romero, who had a great career not only at Michigan but also in the professional leagues before Athletes Unlimited. We talk about our sister Sydney, who's a national champion at Oklahoma. Megan Faramo. Names go on and on. Names that if you're a softball fan, when I'm saying them, you're going, oh, these are huge names. Obviously, if you're not a softball fan, you're saying who? But big names in the sport all coming down to Greenville, North Carolina. And Athletes Unlimited will have a doubleheader down there tomorrow for all those girls to be able to see, take in. And they're going to have plenty of chances to interact with those players as well. Get their pictures, get their autographs, ask questions. One of the things that I love about softball and made me fall in love with the sport is how accessible the best of the game are, because softball hasn't blown up yet into the extent where it's like, okay, so if you look up to an NFL player, there are great odds that you will never meet that NFL player. Ever. Like, even if you go to their game, you can go to every game that NFL player plays in the season. Like, you could be a season ticket holder and travel with them and go, you're probably like the odds are of you actually meeting in a significant way, even like you might even get their autograph, right? Hey, how you doing? Autograph, here you go. But it's so huge. There's so many fans. There's such a demand for these players that there's really no way you're going to get to meet that player and have a conversation. And with softball, even though it's getting bigger and bigger, there's still every player that plays in the professional league and in the college level understands that the fans are the lifeblood. And there are so many college players and pro players that will stay late into the night to make sure that every fan out there gets their due. And that's why I love it, because it's you can go and meet the best players in the game and not just get a quick, how you do an autograph. I mean, these are players that will stop, they'll talk to you, they'll get conversations with you, they'll answer you on social media, they'll talk with you. And that's one of the things that made me fall in love with softball right off the bat. That's one of the things that these girls are going to be able to experience tomorrow when Athletes Unlimited comes down. I mean, this is not like, MLB, I'm sure they come down, they might talk a little bit, you might get like a group talk, but this is a little bit different for softball, because these players, I'm telling you, they're going to take each player, they're going to give each kind of team, each player a chance that if you have questions for this player, okay, you ask them and get the chance to talk with them. There's going to be actual legitimate chances to learn and interact with the best players in the world that come down to Greenville, North Carolina. And that's what I'm most excited about these girls for, because whether they know it or not, and I know Coach Hamley has been saying for a while that they don't really know how big of a deal this is to get down to the World Series. So they probably don't know it yet, how big of a deal this is to meet some of the players that they're about to meet. But when they're starting to, pick their brain and learn some things, I mean, they're going to learn really quick how much of an impact that's going to be. I mean, we're talking the best players. I want Kate Averill to go and talk a lot to Spates, because Kate Averill has been making play after play after play at shortstop throughout the district, throughout the state, throughout the region. I called a lot of plays in the district that were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Kate Averill just made that play. And then, kept it up in state, and then she made the ESPN announcers go nuts with some plays in the regional. So seeing Kate Averill being able to meet the best shortstop that I've ever seen in softball right now, Sis Bates, who plays in Athletes Unlimited, that's one of the conversations that I hope happens. I hope Kate Averill gets a chance to meet Sis Bates and gets a chance to talk with her a little bit, because I think she's the best shortstop that I've ever seen play this game, for sure. For sure. I would die on that hill. I can't look for the words, but if someone else came up to me and said so-and-so is a better shortstop than Sis Bates, I would say you are nuts. There are a lot of good ones, a lot of great ones, but Sis Bates is right there on the top of that name category for me. And I have a pretty good one on the wall right behind you. I mean, that's saying something. I mean, you see Madison Shipman right there, who played for Tennessee as a shortstop in their big run 2013, going to the College World Series Championship Series, and went on to play for the USSSA Pride, now a softball analyst for ESPN. Sis Bates is better. Like, Sis Bates is just a better shortstop than everyone else you'll see. So she's in Athletes Unlimited, and Kate Averill, who's been making a lot of plays at shortstop, that's one of the players that she'll get a chance to meet. I know Mila Hamley looks up to Odyssey Alexander a lot, one of the big names in the circle in the last couple of years in softball, making that big run for James Madison into the WCWS. Odyssey Alexander, she plays for Athletes Unlimited. Mila Hamley's going to be able to meet and talk with Odyssey Alexander. Big opportunities for Austintown. But back to the full circle moment. They got the win today, 4-0 this morning over the West Coast representative, and Austintown is still alive in this tournament as they go on to play in the next round, and they'll stay in the elimination bracket where it is win or go home, like it will be for the rest of their run. So we wish Austintown the best of luck as they continue on to their journey into this Little League World Series. One of the things that I also want to talk about today, before we get to Coach Bastarkey's preview, and obviously we get to a commercial break as well, is just I think this is something that I have the time to talk about now because we don't have a lot of sports going on at the moment until obviously fall sports starts and we're going to be going full steam ahead. But I saw I think everyone saw the fight that broke out between Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson. It's been all over social media. It's gone viral, and it brought up something in my mind that I had this conversation I think on Running Point back in basketball season, and it's the differences that when we look at behavior from the women's sports to the men's sports. And one of the things that I was like blown away by was when I said that, like, hey, the conversation came about, if you guys remember, back in the college basketball season, the women's college basketball championship, LSU Iowa. Caitlin Clark was dominating through the tournament. She got kind of slowed down. LSU ran away with that championship. And one of their players, whose name, I'm sorry, escapes me, but she's a big name right now in women's basketball, obviously because of the tournament she had and the things that she's going to continue to do at LSU because she has more years of eligibility. She goes up to Caitlin Clark and she does one of these as they're walking off the court because they won. And it was a taunt. Caitlin Clark had been doing that a couple of times this season. So she goes up to her as they're walking off the court after they win the national championship. She does one of these and then walks away. Want to point out there was no physical altercation. There was no verbal altercation. Caitlin Clark just walked off the court. Press conference was civil. They just said, hey, man, that's just the game. I didn't even notice it. They both gave each other respect. There was no fight, no argument, nothing coming out of it. It was just a taunt. It was just this, right? But that clip went all over social media, went all over the sports coverage, whether you're talking ESPN, Fox, whatever. Every talk show had to talk about this and how unclassmen it was, how shameful it was. Can't believe we saw this. Not representing her school well, yada yada yada. All this stuff, like just burying her with a shovel. And then we see a fight and made it like a little fist fight break out in Major League Baseball. Bench is clear. Everyone's going. And what do I see? It goes viral, and 80% of it is either positive, like, yeah, go Jose Ramirez, or at the least, non-negative, like just joking about it or not thinking it's a big deal. So when I say in basketball season, there's a difference there between when we look at how women behave on a court or on a field or whatever to men, and people are like, no, that's if anyone does this and taunts somebody, I don't care if they're guys or girls, we're gonna say it's wrong. And I'm like, I don't think you would. And that's a majority. I'm not saying universally, because there are people that think it's wrong on both sides. I applaud you. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care if you think, Jose Ramirez came out in his apology and said, I'm not that guy, but I'm an emotional player. Emotions got the best of me. It was a tight game. It was a close play, whatever it may be. My emotions took over. I'm an emotional player. That's how I play baseball. He apologized. He said, that's not me. And a lot of people were okay with that. A lot of people were just like, okay, it's an emotional game. He's an emotional player. Gets suspended for 3 games. We'll move on. If you're that part of the fence where it's an emotional game, sometimes kids and sometimes players just kind of lose their cool and do things that maybe aren't supposed to or aren't what we want to see all the time. But hey, it's an emotional game. Then be part of that fence, but be part of that fence on both sides, right? Don't say that about Jose Ramirez and then go and bury the crap out of a girls basketball player that does this to a girl after winning the national championship. But if you're on the other side of the fence, mad respect. Hey, this has no part in the game. Fighting has no part in the game. Taunting in men's basketball, whatever it may be. If you're that part of the fence, more power to you, more respect to you. Just be a part of that fence on both sides too. That was my whole conversation when it happened in the basketball season. Because my gripe was when I saw it and I saw the reaction, I saw it all over, all the talk shows, First Take, what Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, whatever it may be, Colin Coward, whatever talk show you can think of, it was on. And most of them were just burying it. So if you're going to be on that side of the fence, be on it for both sides. And I know that no one was just burying Jose Ramirez in the sports meet. No one was saying this is shameful. I didn't see any of the big name talk show host or whatever they're talking about baseball say this is just shameful, can't believe he did it. If anything, it was just okay, he's going to be a slap on the wrist, let's move on. Which I'm not like mad about. I'm just frustrated that it's people that are on two sides of the coin, right? Like I said, if you're going to be a part of the camp it's an emotional game. Jose Ramirez, yes, he apologized. Everything's good. Let's just give him his 3-game suspension. Move on. He's an emotional player. It happens. That's fine. Be on that side of the fence. Just be on that side of the fence for the women's basketball player that does this too. And if you're on the other side of the fence, that's fine. Just be on that side of the fence both ways, right? That's all I ask. Consistency in how we react to things we see in sports on both sides of the aisle. All right? Good talk. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the season preview of East Palestine Volleyball with John Bistarkey here on Running Point. As always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends that you just heard from Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. I want to take some time to read some 5-star reviews about Greenwood Chevrolet, our wonderful presenting sponsor that we thank every day for believing in Running Point since day one. So here are some 5-star reviews given by people about Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Great people and always able to find a way to get a car. That's a 5-star review. The service advisors and staff are wonderful to deal with and go out of their way to get things done in a timely fashion. That's a 5-star review. And 5 stars all day with a couple of exclamation points. There you go. Another 5-star review. They're getting them left and right. 5-star, 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 5-star. If you wanted to give them a 5-star review and check out why they deserve so much praise and so much adoration from their customers, make sure to get on down to Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Tell them YSN sent you. Tell them you heard how good they were from Anthony and Running Point and YSN. And we'd love to send you to get a new car. If you're in the market for a new used vehicle, make sure to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Thank them so much for their constant sponsorship, as I always say. We have a volleyball season preview. East Palestine's Don Bistarkey was able to join me yesterday, and we got to record a great season preview with him as he returns to the fold for East Palestine volleyball. Remember, he coached back 2002 to 2007 as a volleyball coach, took some time off, obviously built a family, watched his daughter go through the volleyball program, graduate in, I believe, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that kind of sparked the love of the sport back to him. And here we are, a job opening up in East Palestine, and he was able to jump on it and get back into the East Palestine volleyball program. And he is coaching yet again here in 2023. Excited for the season in East Palestine. We are too. And I think this conversation will give you a big reason why we're so excited for Bulldog volleyball this year. So here's a season preview of East Palestine volleyball with head coach John Bastarkey. Anthony Hartwig here with a East Palestine volleyball coach's corner to preview the Bulldog season this year. John Bastarkey joins me to talk about his crew. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And let's talk first about this East Palestine team, kind of the lessons last year, reflect on last season, and some of the things that these girls that are returning are going to be taking from last year into this season.
Well, I mean, the cupboard certainly wasn't left bare when I took over this program in the spring. 7 returning lettermen, all 6 seniors have great experience, all lettered last year. So, we're ready to get rolling. We're excited, ready for the August 21st to hit, and we'll be ready to go.
And when you think of, your first couple months with this team, obviously, like you said, you just got the job in the spring, so you've had a little bit of time to kind of gauge the personality and gauge what you have. What's that been like to learn the personality of this team, to learn the strengths and weaknesses and try to build on that all summer?
Well, I mean, I think the strength was already there. Like I said, with the 6 seniors coming back, so the team camaraderie was already there. They work so well together. They're a great group of girls. They get along. No arguing, no bickering in practice. They help the younger girls tremendously in open gyms. And in the first week of practice, we had over 20 hours of practice last week. Yeah, they're just itching to go. I think they're itching to play somebody else besides themselves now. So
let's have a meet the team segment and let you go through your roster and some of the obviously big names that are returning, but then maybe some new names as well that East Palestine fans should know about.
Well, my seniors, Mackenzie Parker, she's back, all district last year. Sorry for the bells. All district last year, EOAC league. She's going to be my setter, outside hitter, tremendous volleyball IQ, JO player. Liana Martin's going to be my libero, big time hustler, probably the quickest girl on the team. Great passer. Sophia Furch on the outside, also a senior, big hitter, tallest girl on my team. Also plays the back row very well. Alexis Robb, I moved her to weak side. She played a lot of, I understand she played a lot of back row last year, but she's strong. She's a bulldog, no pun intended, but she's a strong girl. So I moved her to the weak side, maybe help with some blocking on the, opposing outside hitters. Gabby Andre, defensive specialist, also back. She hits the floor more than anybody I've ever seen. Like she just is constantly on the floor digging balls. So it's Mara Zimmerman, my middle hitter, also a senior, has had a great summer. She's just coming along very nicely, right where I expected her to be. Also returning is a junior, Ellie Berger, also playing middle, also had a great summer, great volleyball IQ, probably my best blocker. So she, those are all the returning girls. I didn't think I missed anybody. Bringing a couple sophomores up, Cami Kreidler and Alyssa Dilling, both sophomores that will be coming up to set for us. And also bringing Amara Wilson. So they're new to the varsity program, but Amara's going to hit weak side and jumps through the roof. Great blocker. So
Now that we've met your team, obviously every team has a couple of vocal leaders that coaches lean on to, especially in volleyball where communication is so important. Who do you think those players are that are really going to be the vocal leaders of this team that you're going to lean on to get everybody in the right spot during the season?
Vocal leaders, definitely Leila. She's outspoken. She'll tell you if you're messing up. She'll get on them. Especially the younger girls. Mackenzie Parker is she's a quiet girl, but you put her on the volleyball court and there's a switch. And like I said, her volleyball IQ is through the roof. And I've seen her multiple times in open gyms helping the younger girls, or even positioning where girls should be on the court. So those are probably my two vocal leaders, are those two.
Let's talk about the schedule that you guys have put together. Obviously, the EOAC comes first. Very tough conference with teams like East Palestine. I mean, teams like Columbiana. Obviously, you guys, Lisbon, all really good volleyball programs. What do you expect out of the league? And in your first year, how do you expect to shake up in the EOAC?
I mean, it's going to be a tough league. Obviously, Wellsville, only losing one regular season game last year. They're back with probably one of the best players in the state, and Presley Stokes. So she'll be back. So they're going to be tough to handle. Southern's always good. Coach Shansky has them ready year in and year out. Columbiana's got everybody back. They're going to be good. United. I mean, three of our first four games are on the road. I mean, we played Toronto on August 21st at Toronto, and then we turn around and go to Southern the next night. I mean, we're talking about a combined 39 wins between those two last year. So, and then we finally get Columbiana at home, and I think Heartland Christian at home. But the EOAC is loaded this year. But we're up for the task. We're very experienced. So hopefully, I expect us to be in the running.
You already brought up a couple of teams outside the conference that you'll be playing in Toronto and Heartland. Who are some other teams outside the EOAC that you're excited to test yourself against and know that playing those teams will really get you ready for tournaments?
Well, I mean, towards the end of the year, we have Springfield, who's always has a good volleyball program. Waterloo, Ravenna Southeast, they're on us. They're on our schedule toward the end of the season. Like I said, we open up with Toronto on the road, and then we play them later in the season here. So, those are some good games to get us ready for post-tournament.
Since it's your first season here with East Palestine Volleyball, let's hear about your volleyball journey and what kind of things led you to be taking this job.
Well, a lot of people don't know I was actually the head coach. I took the job in 2002 for 5 years. So I'm kind of coming back after 21 years. So most of these girls on this, well, obviously none of these girls on this current team were born yet the last time I coached here. But I've told them, I said, this is just watching them this summer. This is the most talented team I've had. I've told them that, but I've told them that they're not as good as my other teams yet. And I emphasize yet, because there's a lot of potential on this team. And once we start playing the games, we figured some things out. But yeah, there's so much talent. I actually started here in 7th grade under Jen Miller when she was the volleyball coach here. She hired me in at 7th grade, and I kind of moved myself up through the ranks. Played coach JVs under Cheney Nesbeth when she was here, and then I took over after she left. So yeah, I mean, I got some experience under my belt, but it's been a while, and I'm just excited to be back, and I'm excited to get going again.
I guess the big question is, after such a long hiatus, what drew you back into this world of high school coaching?
Well, my daughter just graduated in 2021. She played 4 years here, and I realized then that I kind of missed it, watching her play high school volleyball. Seeing the ins and outs while she was playing, and I actually line judged some home games, so I was that close to the action, and just hearing the verbiage and stuff. Just I realized I missed it, and then when this job opened up, I actually my wife was the one that says, I really think you ought to, get back into it. I have two kids that graduated, so I'm not watching them play sports anymore. I have a daughter that's going to be a sophomore this year, that only runs track. So that was the biggest thing. It was just I didn't realize it till after I got back into it, how much I missed it. And I actually, Tristan Reynolds last year got hired as the basketball coach here, and called me up and asked me if I'd be his JV coach. And after such a long layoff, and I agreed to do that. And I just forgot how much I really missed it being gone for so long.
Everyone knows sports change over years. Volleyball now is different than volleyball in 2007. What's the biggest change that you had to kind of adjust yourself to coming in to coach now in 2023?
It's faster, a little more plays. Before it was just kind of bump, set, spike. I can mix in a couple slides here and there, but yeah, the main thing is it's faster. The girls are a little stronger and bigger, and that we've just been with the jump stretching and the lifting all summer long. These girls are just bigger and faster, I think, right now. But not to say that there's a lot of talent, back in the early 2000s. But no, these girls just seem to be, JO is more element, more prevalent now. So a lot of, excuse me, a lot of these girls have played volleyball all spring and then jump into volleyball in the summer and then fall when their season starts. So they have a lot more experience on the court, I think, than they did 20 years ago, when JOs wasn't as popular as it is now.
East Palestine is such a special place. Everyone at Ysn knows that. It's kind of a Ysn home because, of course, DJ Oakley calls East Palestine home. For you, obviously, being in the school system, coaching before, coaching now, having kids go through the high school, what makes East Palestine so special in your perspective, the community and the support that you get?
You said it, just the community. Everybody knows each other and everybody has each other's backs. And just, growing up in a small community and then coaching kids from a small community, they're just so tight, and they're all friends, and they get along, and they all know each other, and they know each other's families. And it just makes it easier as a coach in a small community, just because, the camaraderie is there, and they know what it takes to work hard, especially little towns like this, little communities. And most of my girls they work in the summertime, and then they come to play volleyball, and you don't get that at a lot of places. So they're just they're hard workers. I'm not saying bigger cities aren't, but it's a little tougher down here. It's a tougher life.
First year back, one of the things you obviously had to do was build a new coaching staff. So I want you to go over the coaches that are helping you out and all the people that are behind the scenes that are making this volleyball program exactly what you want it to be.
Well, I got Cindy Straney is going to coach my JV. She's a legend over there at Crestview, Hall of Famer, 30 plus years of experience and volleyball experience. She agreed to come coach with me. So that's huge. I got Kendra Greaves is going to coach the freshmen this year. She was a great player. 2022 graduated at Crestview, played in some great teams over there. My middle school staff consists of my daughter, Malin, who played all 4 years here, graduated in 2021. JOs, she's been playing volleyball since she was in 5th grade. My 8th grade coach is going to be Harmony Offenberg, also a graduate of Columbiana, played JOs for years. So, and I'm glad I brought in the kind of a mixture between the older and the younger, like the younger girls can kind of deal with the things that maybe me and Coach Straney aren't, like the verbiage, the language, maybe some of them throw out there. But no, I think I put together a great staff, and they're working so hard right now. And I got to throw out there, we've been in the weight room all summer with strength and conditioning coach John Uriauchi, who has put these guys through. I actually feel sorry for him sometimes up there watching them, go through his workout. They look like football players up there in the weight room. So I got, take a shout out to him also. So
before we let you go, I want you to just describe your culture and what you kind of want to instill into this volleyball program as you take it back over.
Well, I mean, if you walk into our gym and look up at the championships, and back in the 80s and 90s, I want to bring that back. I want to bring that tradition back. Just just want to make us relevant again. I want people to see the name East Palestine. That's your next game, and and realize that it's going to be a dogfight. So that's what I kind of instilled in the girls this summer. Is like, listen, why not us? It's a great league. We're going to be a really good team. So don't just settle anymore. Don't just settle for the middle of the pack or the EOAC. Why not us? So that's what I've been really pushing this summer.
Coach, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a solid preview of East Palestine volleyball. We're excited for another season of covering you guys, and we can't wait to get out there on August 21st and see you guys for the first time. And we wish you the best of luck. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon. John Bastarkey, the head coach of the East Palestine Bulldogs, getting ready for another volleyball season, and we can't thank him enough for his time that he was able to give us. And I'm excited for East Palestine volleyball. I think they've been one of the programs that you could tell in the last couple of years, you're building. And like he said, they're returning a lot. They get a lot of experience. They have a lot of talent on that team. He actually went as far as saying it was the most talented team that he's ever coached. Obviously, he has 5 years of experience back from 2002 to 2007. So the talent is there in East Palestine. And let's be honest, there was a stretch of years back in the, I would say like 2009, that program was struggling to find consistency. And I think John Bastarkey coming back into a program that he obviously loves and cares about. He poured so much of his time into it for 5 years. That's a perfect coach to get to come back and bring consistency into that roster that is already riddled with talent. So when you have talent and then you have a coach that is going to preach and demand consistency, I think that is a great recipe for a lot of success. So I think East Palestine, sleeper in the EOAC. Obviously, Wellsville is going to be a very big monster in that EOAC conference in volleyball. So is Columbiana, so is United. But I think East Palestine is one of those teams that can creep in there and maybe shock some people, maybe get into the conversation of EOAC, race when we're talking down the end of the stretch. I wouldn't be surprised if they're at least in the conversation, if they're in that top tier of the conference at the end of the year instead of in the middle of the pack. I think they're going to take some jumps this year. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised with the East Palestine Bulldogs when they step on that volleyball court. And we're going to learn a lot from them in the first couple of weeks because, like Coach said, 3 out of the first 4 games for East Palestine are on the road, and they're tough road games. So if they can survive that first road stretch and then bring in a big home streak after that, then I think they're going to be exactly what I'm saying. A team that is going to be just fine. So I can't wait to learn that about them and see how they do those first 4 games, see how they handle themselves on the road, and then of course how much they treasure being back home after that long road stint. So we're going to see more volleyball and fall sports previews coming throughout the week. Stay tuned to that. Want to once again congratulate Austintown 12U softball for winning this morning 4-0 over the West Coast representative and staying alive in the Little League World Series. and we wish them the best of luck in their next game. Opponent to be determined, I believe. And until then, we're going to kind of sign off. We're going to sign off today. I know we're usually 1 to 2, but obviously we're waiting for more sports to happen. And the way the timing has gone off, we're going to just sign off a little bit early today. So thank you so much for tuning in to Running Point. We love coming to you every day. And we will be back tomorrow 1 to 2. Scotty Mincher will be in, and we'll also return Brian Tolnar tomorrow for his golf season debut. We're going to talk to him about everything that's been going on in Mill Creek. He's had a really, really busy summer. So we'll talk to him about that, and then we'll preview the golf season. And then after next week, we're going to try to get a golfer or a golf coach on every week with Brian Tolnar every Wednesday, just like we did with Gary Altizer for Wrestling Wednesdays in the winter last year. We thought that was a great opportunity to put these athletes in front of someone that can really knowledgeably ask a lot of sports-specific questions. Gary did a great job with that during the wrestling season, and we're going to try to do that as much as possible with Brian as well. But this week, we're just him, Scotty, and myself talking some golf, and then obviously me and Scotty will take over the rest of the show, but it's going to be a fun one tomorrow from 1 to 2. Don't miss it, and as always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Please check them out. Tell them that I sent you. Tell them that you heard us on YSN, and specifically mention Running Point as they are the presenting sponsor.